All right, my dowsing friends, let's get started on this Monday morning and see what comes up. I don't have any particular topic in mind today. We're just going to go to the charts. We're just going to see what is it that we all need to clear, release, think about today that would benefit us in some sort of a way. So let's just get started. We're just going to dive in. Usually I talk and I prep and I tell you all something and I go on and I go on and on because I don't know, that's just kind of the way I'm designed. But today we're just going to dive in and we're going to see what is it that we all would benefit from releasing today or looking at today. Ooh, is this dishonesty or is this obsessiveness? Obsessiveness. Who are you, a Scorpio? Are you Scorpios watching this right now? Whew, I know, because I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. And so, that just is the first thing that popped up because we're known for that. We're known for being mildly obsessive. But who are you? Maybe you're not a Scorpio, but you've been struggling with the energy of obsessiveness. And so let's see, what is the root story of this obsessiveness beyond, what someone's astrology might be, but what else is going on here that you want us to see as it relates to this obsessiveness? We're going to chart 2. What's going on here with this obsessiveness? Ooh, an obsessiveness with control and power. We're obsessing about our need to be in control. And so I'm going to ask specifically, and I do this by you see the rings on my binder. I just say, is this specifically about control, about power, or about both? And so is this control, power, or both? It really is about both. Because I was going to say, if it's just control, then maybe this is just fear-based, right? We're just so afraid, and the only way we maintain, homeostasis is by feeling like we're in control of everything. But also this power piece, that kind of shifts things a little bit for me in my mind. So not only do I need control over things, but I also want power over things. And those are two, they're in the same family, but they can show up a little bit differently. So what percent is this need for power and control benefiting us? 0%. There's no benefit whatsoever. And what percent are we open to balancing out this need for power and control? We're open. Okay, so that's great. That went to my 100%. So then the other question I'm going to ask is, what percent are we blocked to letting go of this power, this need for power and control, this obsession with power and control? We're 100% blocked. So we're open to letting it go, but we're also blocked to letting it go. There's something there that's like, yes, I want to release it, but when we go to release it, it hits something. Something hits it, and then it can't flow out. And so that's what we're going to look at right now. We're going to say, what is this thing that's blocking us to letting go of our obsession with power and control? Going to chart 60. Well, this is interesting. Ooh, interesting. Is this our Virgo energy or our judgment by God? That's so funny because it could have been either one. So judgment by God. Judgment by God. Our entire lives, potentially, we have been told that we are being judged by God, that we are not just inherently, unconditionally lovable, that we're only lovable if we perform. And for a lot of us, the only way to feel like we can perform well is to be in constant control. If I just control all the factors around me, have power over everyone around me, well, then I can perform in such a way that will keep me lovable. So the root story that I'm hearing here is, I'm so afraid of being judged by God that I must be in the energy of control and having power over things. Because if I'm not in control, then how will I be perfect? How will I make sure that I do good enough? How will I make sure that I'm not being judged by God? So release all of us now of our fear of being judged by God in this lifetime or any lifetime. We clear any lifetime where we were religiously, so enraptured with this idea of God, capital G-O-D, the big God, the judgmental God, that it has, sort of, burrowed its way into the core of who we are unconsciously. You don't even know it. And maybe you know it. Maybe you're somebody who's like, yeah, no, I know. I grew up in a really religious environment. And yes, I get that this is fueling me. I am scared of going to hell. And so I'm going to do everything I possibly can to have power and control over my surroundings, over my situation, over my life. I'm going to make sure that none of these factors are present so that God can't judge me. But maybe you're also somebody who, yeah, you don't realize that it's operating you on such a deep level, because this comes from a different place. It comes from a different realm. It comes from a different parallel. It comes from a different lifetime, but it's just seeped into the core of who you are. And if that's the case, we release all of us now from any conscious and unconscious programming as it relates to being judged by God, being unlovable if we are not perfect. Ooh, okay, so now what percent are we open to letting this power and control go? So that dropped us down about 40%. So now we're only 60% blocked to letting go of this need for power and control. What's going on here regarding this power and control? So we're going to our icky energies chart. This is that chart that we get sometimes that we use it to do our energy exchange. Is this helplessness or apathy? Helplessness. So we're feeling helpless. So then we're obsessed with power and control. What does it mean to feel helpless? Just thinking about that. If I feel helpless, I feel like there's nobody around me who can assist me. And that I can't assist myself even. I feel helpless. I can't help myself. No one's going to help me. So I am going to obsess over those things that I do have power and control over, to the point of toxicity, or else this would not be coming up in a clearing. If this was balanced and healthy for us, it would not be coming up in a clearing, but it's coming up in a clearing because it is not balanced and healthy for us. And for a lot of us, we are in a toxic imbalance of obsession with power and control, so that we can maintain perfection, so that we can be seen as worthy and good and lovable. And because also we feel helpless. We feel helpless to help ourselves. We feel helpless to receive help from others. And again, I think this goes back to some inherent sense of unworthiness because we are judged by God. We are not perfect and beautiful and wonderful as we are. We believe we are being judged by God, that ultimately there is heaven and hell, right and wrong, and we are falling short of that. And I know, as somebody who grew up in the church, that's a really scary feeling. It is an extremely scary feeling to wake up every single day and not know whether today is the day you're going to do that ultimate sin that's going to wind you up, burning forever in the lake of fire. I will never forget those words. I will never forget the words, that I was told at such a young age about what hell is really like. How they described hell was, it's not, it does not sound like fun. It does not sound like fun. And so again, we feel helpless against our own humanity. That's what I'm getting right now. It's like, I feel helpless to be the perfect thing that I know I need to be to get into heaven, because I am human and I cannot deny my human nature, but I feel helpless because I'm a victim to my own human nature. And so let me again try as best as I can to be in a constant state of power and control over myself, over those around me, so that I can try my very best not to do wrong. I can try my very best not to sin, so that I can try my very best to avoid God's judgment. I release myself from the belief that God is a judgmental God. That's hard to say for a lot of us. That's hard to say for a lot of us because it goes against everything we've been told. It goes against everything we've been told, but it needs to be said today. So what else do we need to do? So let's check again. This is just a fun thing to do. So now what percent are we blocked to letting go of this obsessive need for power and control? Now we're only 10% blocked. So what do we need to do to blast out that final 10%? Is this 8A or 8B? 8A, okay. And sometimes you might be like, well, Kate, the pendulum barely moved, but I can see it. Okay, so what's going on here? Inner child, our inner child archetype. That inner child that was the child that heard these words for the first time, the child that was exposed to this sort of belief system for the first time, is still really struggling to let go of power and control. It's like I want, as an adult, I want to let go of my obsessive need to be perfect, my obsessive need to have power and control all the time, to avoid God's judgment. I want to let it go. I start to let it go. It starts to release from me. And then here's the block. Here, standing in front of me, is my own inner child, scared, terrified, terrorized by the idea of a judgmental God. You know, and like, what can we do other than imagine that inner child standing in front of us and saying, it's okay. I get it. I get it. That was scary. That was scary. And as the grown, wise adult that I am, I know now that that's not true. I know now that I don't have to be perfect. I know now that I can let go of this need for power and control and allow my true spiritual essence to blossom and to shine. Like, when we're trying to be good all the time, our true spiritual essence does not get to shine. Because we're constantly, oh no, is that wrong? Oh no, you know, like, oh, contain. And for a lot of us, we don't have a beautiful spiritual life anymore because we're just trying so hard to contain ourselves inside of the rules and the structures of, this is what I should do as a human. This is how I should perform. This is how I should act. I haven't posted it yet, but I did a clearing yesterday on identity and allowing ourselves to develop a new identity, allow ourselves to transform from what we used to be into who we are now. And this is what we also need to do in this moment. I allow myself to transform past my scared inner child into my knowing, wise adult. Take a deep breath with that. I allow myself to transform past my scared inner child into my true, wise, strong, confident adult. You know, if that inner child, that image of that inner child is blocking you from releasing the need for power and control, pick that inner child up and hold her or him or them and walk forward with them and say, I know I can't get rid of you. I know I can't destroy you. I don't want to destroy you, but I will hold you as we walk forward together, and I will show you that it's going to be okay. Hold them, you know, hold on to them, give them that comfort. It's going to be scary. We're not going to be able to avoid the fear. It will be scary, but we will do it. You know, we'll walk forward together. And so that's the thing that I want you to be thinking about right now and visualizing is removing the block, which is your own inner child, by picking them up and taking them with you into this next phase of your life. And the next phase of your life is one where you don't have to be in constant gripping mode. You don't need to constantly be holding on to try to be perfect and good all the time, to avoid God's judgment. To release ourselves now from all of that. Is there anything else you want me to do here related to this clearing around the need for power and control? Is this 6A or 6D? 6A. So we're going to go back and clear up a little bit more of the icky energies. What of these icky energies do we need to clear out of the way? We need to clear out our terror. We need to clear out our toxic shame. So terror and toxic shame is this connection, right? And the toxic shame came from the terror. It's like the terror came first. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid, and I'm so ashamed for my own humanity. And you can say it with me right now. I am no longer ashamed of my humanity. I am no longer ashamed of who and what I am. I'm no longer terrified of being judged. I feel good about who I am and that I am loved no matter what. Yeah, that's intense. I wasn't expecting to do. It's funny how, you know, sometimes in the charts it's like finances, sometimes it's whatever, and today it's deeply spiritual. It's a deeply spiritual clearing today, and I hope that this finds whoever needs it. Yeah, because this stuff is serious and it's heavy, and we can go our whole lives having a dysfunctional relationship with God. We can go our whole lives having a dysfunctional relationship with ourself because we have a dysfunctional relationship with God. You know, I think I would have been somebody that would have happened to had I not been blessed enough to find the right people at the right time to expose me to the right kind of healing methods to be able to get past the deep toxic shame and terror that I felt around God and all these concepts that were, you know, downloaded into me through my religious upbringing. And again, no harm, no foul to my folks, right? They didn't know, they're just doing what they believed in, and that's okay. So are we going to look at the anima, animus? Are we looking at final items? Final items in this one universe. That's what this chart is called. What do we got going on here? Something else, that extra nagging thing that needs to be cleared. So we're just calling now for, you know, all of our meticulous. I think about the people who are clean up the airplanes when you get off of the airplane, and they're on board before you're even off board, and they're meticulously cleaning everything up. They're wiping things down. They're cleaning the nooks and the crannies and all of the little surface areas that anybody might have touched. So we're calling in our meticulous cleaners now, just to be able to go in and trust that on a spiritual level, you know, there is someone or something, our guides, our masters, our angels, who are going to be able to clear out of the way any remaining blocks we have to loving and accepting ourselves, releasing the need to constantly be perfect, to constantly be in the energy of power and control, so that we can have a healthy relationship with spirit. That's the thing, when we are, you know, just in this human form, picking away at ourselves, you know, nagging again at ourselves to have power and control so that we are perfect, so that we don't sin, so that we don't fall short of the glory of God, so that we aren't judged by God. That is not a very happy way to live. That's really stressful and uncomfortable, and you're never really relaxed. Whew, yeah, that makes me want to relax my stomach. So we allow that to just go away. We allow that to dissipate. We allow that to disappear. We allow ourselves to once and for all relax into our own humanity, the beauty and the joy of who we are too. Not just like, oh, well, I kind of accept myself. It's like, no, I really accept myself. Like I really will celebrate, you know, who and what I am. So let's wrap this clearing up. We're going to do, again, 100% of 100% of mop up, trusting those little airplane workers to come in here and clean up anything left over. We're going to download ourselves now with some hope, with some tolerance. Yeah, hope and tolerance. And tolerance is really important because we have to be tolerant of this process. This is not going to be easy. SRT is not always easy. Spiritual healing is not always easy. Any kind of healing is not easy. Think about going through occupational therapy, physical therapy. They're going to push you. They're going to say, if you want to get better, you have to push yourself. You have to be uncomfortable. You're going to sweat. You're going to pant. You're going to want to, you know, fall over sometimes. And that's what spiritual healing is like as well. And so we give ourselves a tolerance to be able to handle the discomfort that's going to come when we shift out of our old habits, our old patterns, our old belief systems into this new way of being, this new belief that I am loved by God, that I'm not going to be judged by God, that I can be myself no matter what, in all circumstances, in all situations, in all dynamics, inside of all relationships. I am okay as I am. I am okay as I am. That's a good closing statement for us today. I hope that this was helpful for you in some way. If you're curious about spiritual response technique, don't hesitate to reach out. www.thepointedstone.com. Thanks for being here, everybody, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.